Hey, what's up guys? Today we are doing a review on the Camillus Stroud SK Arctic knife. This is one of the few of his knives in his survival line of knives that he's teamed up with Camillus. Very similar to Bear Grylls and Gerber, how they teamed up. Camillus is a good brand. And let's get into the knife. So the knife itself, the blade, is a carbon nitride titanium bonded 440 steel. It has a non-stick coating on the blade. As you can tell, I've used the blade. And full tang construction, has a knurled steel pommel. Some people kind of don't like that much the angle on that pommel, because this would be if it was flat. Now that's with the angle. Doesn't matter either way to me. Gets the job done. I mean, I'm not going to complain about, you know, in a real survival situation, you're going to make that work either way. And it has pros and cons either way. The black section of the knife is like a softer rubber material, as well as this yellowish green portion is a softer rubber, as well as the rubber on the sheath. The gray sections is a hard ballistic type plastic. Let's get into the sheath. Sheath kind of looks plain, kind of doesn't look too exciting, but this is the Arctic knife. Reason being it's the Arctic is because it's kind of meant to be a little simple. If you're in the Arctic, in the snow, you're gonna have big thick gloves on, and it's gonna be hard to manipulate things, you know. Unlike the Camillus, I believe it's the Mountain that has all the, you know, little whistle and lights and this and that. You're not gonna really be able to manipulate those things that well with the big pair of thick gloves on. But case, on the back of the case has this little mesh pocket with his included survival guide. Has some tips and suggestions on survival. It's a waterproof paper, so I've ran water onto the paper and it beads right off. It has a nice thick belt loop. It's nice and wide, so if you have real thick belts, it should work for you. Also has a couple of holes here on the top. You can run some quarters through there, maybe some paracord. Some people don't like the height of that it sits with the off your belt through the belt loop, so you could use these holes, maybe some paracord, and drop it down a little bit, hang lower on your leg. The only issue with that is there's no holes down here to kind of lash it to your leg if you wanted to, so you could drill a hole in the case maybe if it was really that important to you, but that's what you get. The fire striker clips in or pops in real nice. It's in there sturdy, and the striker itself, the handle, has a real nice grippy texture to it, and it clips in nice and snug, snaps in. Should not come out if you as long as you snap it in correctly. Velcro seems nice. You know, overall it's pretty simple, but gets the job done. The only complaints I've kind of heard about this is, as you can see there on the case, the black marks from pulling the striker out. Kind of gets a little dirty there, but come on. You shouldn't have survival knives if you're going to complain about your gear getting dirty. Let's be real, guys. So, your gear's going to get dirty. Who cares about a little black mark on it? But overall, I really like the knife. It's got the little notch out for the fire striker. The idea is to pull it right through that groove. Some people are complaining that the non-stick coating on the blade is kind of prohibiting that from functioning perfectly. I agree that, yeah, it probably shouldn't have that coating in there, but it works fine for me. And in a real situation, you're going to make it work. Use the blade if you needed to, but it doesn't hinder the ability for me to get a good spark out of the fire striker. Very sharp blade out of the package. It shaved my arm hair right off. The sheath also works for either side of mounting on your hip, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. The knife stays in there pretty sturdy. It doesn't exactly snap in or anything. It just kind of, at first it did. It felt like it snapped in place when I first got it. But it definitely feels like, you know, pulling it in and out of the case so many times, it feels like it just kind of fits in there snugly and does not snap in. But it still stays in there. As long as you got your strap around the handle, shouldn't you know, lose it. It's not going to come out on you. So yeah, overall I really dig it. Camillus has put together a real nice knife for Stroud, and I recommend it. You know, down the road, not too long maybe, I will put together a comparison video with some other knives, but all in all I don't feel I need to. It's a good knife. I recommend it, and I will get to showing you some live action demonstration. Actually, I also wanted to point out to you that yes, this is the Arctic knife. So I'm going to show you with in mind that if you are intending to use this knife in the snow or the Arctic itself, using big thick snow gloves, that they've designed it pretty much, you know, for easy operation, even with big thick gloves on. It's not bad. It's pretty easy to manipulate the knife in and out of the case, out of the sheath, and get the strap back on. And then, you know, it kind of seems fugly the way they just put this striker on the outside there, but let's keep in mind the intention is you're not going to have your fingertips to be manipulating this if you're in the snow with gloves on. So with that in mind, it actually comes out pretty easy with big thick gloves on. I thought it would kind of be harder, but it has that real nice grippy texture on there. So I applaud them on that for keeping that specific idea in mind of having big thick gloves on. Alright, here's a little demonstration of a couple simple techniques. You know, people like to see actual physical demonstration with the knives. You know, obviously it's going to do the job. People don't really need to see it, but you know, people like to. So, show you some simple batoning with the knife. I mean, I don't got to show you all day, but batons nicely. You know, the coating's pretty reliable. You know, I haven't gotten any wear on the coating yet. It has a heavy, decent weight to it. I'm not gonna sit here for 10 minutes trying to hack apart, you know, something. But you know, it chops quite nicely. And that's kind of awkwardly chopping it for the camera. If it was a tree in the ground, I'd have better swing and leverage. But chops nicely. And then lastly, for the fire starter part of it, there's been complaints that the coating actually inhibits a bit of the the striking capabilities. It does. Some people say take a file to it. I have not taken a file to it yet, but it sparks just fine for me. I don't know if guys are being babies about it and just not doing it hard enough and with their girly hands messing with it, but that's it. The Camillus Stroud SK Arctic. I recommend it.